What sugar-free coffee does to your circulation after 60 and why no one tells you. For decades, coffee has been an indispensable companion for countless individuals across cultures and continents. It seamlessly integrates into our daily rhythms, perhaps a single cup to awaken the senses each morning, or two, even three, accompanying breakfast, punctuating a post-meal conversation, welcoming guests into our homes, or simply providing a comforting warmth while catching up on the evening news. This cherished beverage has likely been a constant presence in your life for many years, deeply embedded in your routine, shaping your culture, and defining your way of embarking on each new day. Yet, almost invariably, at some point, a well-meaning voice, be it your doctor, a concerned child, a relative, or even a popular health program, has likely urged you to reconsider your coffee habit. You may have heard warnings that coffee elevates blood pressure, that it's detrimental to heart health, or that it's simply ill-advised for those who have reached a certain age. Today, I want to share with you a groundbreaking perspective, a revelation that could entirely transform the way you perceive that comforting mug you hold in your hand each morning. The scientific community, through rigorous and extensive research over recent years, has unveiled discoveries about sugar-free coffee and its profound impact on blood circulation, especially in individuals over the age of 60. These findings are so dramatically different from what was commonly believed just 2 decades ago that even physicians who once strictly prohibited coffee for their patients are now compelled to reevaluate long-held teachings and previously acquired knowledge. However, there exists a singular, absolutely crucial condition. One distinct difference that separates the coffee that genuinely protects your health from the coffee that, regrettably, can cause harm. And for those of us navigating life after 60, this condition becomes more vital than ever before. I urge you to stay with me until the very end of this discussion, because what we are about to uncover could either liberate you from a burden of unnecessary guilt or serve as a critical alert, prompting you to make an immediate and essential change in your daily habits. I am Dr. Movimiento, a physician with over 25 years of clinical experience, specializing in cardiovascular health and dedicated to the holistic well-being of the aging population. I can tell you with complete honesty that coffee is one of the most frequently discussed topics in my consultations. Time and again, a patient will enter, take a seat, and before even detailing their primary concerns, will sheepishly ask, their voice tinged with a mix of guilt, hope, and apprehension, "Doctor, can I still drink coffee?" Today, I will answer that question with both scientific rigor and heartfelt honesty. Before we delve into the specifics of coffee, it is imperative that you grasp a fundamental concept, one that is intrinsically linked to the physiological transformations occurring within the body of someone over 60, yet is rarely articulated with sufficient clarity during a medical appointment. The cardiovascular system after the age of 60 is simply not the same resilient network it was when you were 40. Your arteries, once supple and responsive, progressively lose their elasticity, becoming stiffer and less adaptable. The delicate inner lining of your blood vessels, that incredibly thin protective tissue known as the endothelium, gradually diminishes its capacity to produce crucial protective substances. Furthermore, the heart's reserve capacity, its ability to respond to increased demands, subtly wanes. But there is a specific, often unexplained element of vascular aging that is absolutely central to understanding why coffee holds such significant importance: chronic low-grade inflammation within the blood vessels. As the years accumulate, the arterial walls develop a silent, persistent inflammatory state. Picture it as a slow-burning fire, smoldering imperceptibly within your vessels, causing no immediate pain or clear symptoms, yet steadily hardening, thickening, and deteriorating these vital conduits from the inside year after year. This pervasive vascular inflammatory state is one of the primary drivers behind the onset and progression of cardiovascular diseases in older individuals, and it is precisely here that sugar-free coffee makes a truly astonishing entry onto the stage. Among all the diverse foods in the human diet, coffee stands out as one of the richest sources of naturally occurring antioxidant and anti-inflammatory compounds. A single cup of coffee contains over 1,000 different bioactive compounds. Prominently among these is chlorogenic acid, a potent polyphenol whose formidable antioxidant and anti-inflammatory power has been meticulously documented in dozens of rigorous scientific studies. However, a critical distinction must be made. These protective compounds within coffee function in a profoundly different manner depending on the presence or absence of sugar, and this, precisely, is the central linchpin of everything we are about to explore today. The first remarkable effect of sugar-free coffee that I need to illuminate for you concerns its action on the delicate interior lining of your blood vessels. To visualize this, consider the analogy of a sophisticated plumbing system. Within every artery and vein in your body, there is an incredibly fine layer of cells that lines the vessel's interior. This vital layer is called the endothelium. It functions much like the pristine inner coating of a pipe. When this lining is intact, smooth, and healthy, blood flows freely and unimpeded, just as water courses effortlessly through a clean pipe. However, when this endothelium begins to deteriorate, to become damaged or fissured, the blood flow can become turbulent, fostering the accumulation of substances that lead to obstructions, much like a pipe that begins to clog. In your body, when the endothelium is healthy, blood circulates without hindrance. But when the endothelium is compromised, whether by chronic inflammation, persistent high blood pressure, elevated blood sugar levels, or toxins like those from tobacco, it initiates a process where fat, calcium, and cellular debris begin to accumulate, forming the notorious plaques that obstruct arteries. This process is known as atherosclerosis, and it is the single leading cause of cardiovascular death globally. A comprehensive review published in the esteemed scientific journal Nutrients, which meticulously analyzed over 20 distinct research investigations on this very topic, definitively concluded that coffee significantly improves endothelial function in the vast majority of the studies examined. In essence, coffee actively contributes to maintaining the integrity and optimal function of that crucial inner lining of your arteries. Furthermore, groundbreaking research conducted with healthy volunteers demonstrated for the first time that the caffeine present in just one cup of coffee can remarkably enhance the function of microvessels, those infinitesimally small blood vessels that transport blood to the most distant tissues throughout your body. We are talking about the tiny vessels that supply blood to your fingertips, your toes, your kidneys, and even the retina of your eyes. Precisely. These are the intricate structures that an older individual whose circulation may already be somewhat compromised most urgently needs to protect. And here lies what specifically shifts after the age of 60. Because the endothelium is already naturally more vulnerable due to the inherent processes of aging, any factor that offers it protection has a proportionally greater and more impactful effect. Older individuals, therefore, have significantly more to gain from the protective compounds found in coffee, and concomitantly more to lose when those invaluable compounds are neutralized or undermined by added sugar. Allow me to illustrate this with a real-life example from my practice. I had a patient, Carmen, a vibrant 72-year-old retiree, who came to me complaining that her hands and feet were perpetually cold, even during the warmest months of the year. Her toes, she described, felt like ice. Diagnostic tests confirmed a noticeable impairment in her microcirculation. Among several lifestyle modifications I proposed, one of the simplest yet most impactful was to substitute the coffee she had enjoyed her entire life, sweetened with 3 generous spoonfuls of sugar, with a simple black coffee entirely devoid of any additives. 3 months later, she returned to my clinic, a radiant smile on her face, exclaiming, "Doctor, my hands are finally warm." While it's true that her improvement wasn't solely attributable to coffee, we made other comprehensive changes. The switch to sugar-free, coffee undeniably played a real and significant role in her remarkable recovery. If you are finding this information valuable, I kindly ask you to give this video a like right now and subscribe to the channel. Each week, I bring you science-based insights specifically tailored for individuals over 60. Don't forget to activate the notification bell so you don't miss any vital updates. The second effect of coffee, one that often elicits the most surprise and directly answers a question almost all my older patients eventually pose, is regarding its impact on blood pressure. Does coffee truly raise blood pressure? The honest and nuanced answer is it depends, and that nuance, especially for those over 60, is critically important. When an individual who is not accustomed to drinking coffee consumes a cup, their blood pressure might indeed experience a slight temporary elevation in the immediate hours following consumption. This is a real physiological response, occurring because caffeine has an acute vasoconstrictive effect, temporarily narrowing certain blood vessels and stimulating the sympathetic nervous system, our body's fight or flight response. However, for those who consume coffee regularly, this acute effect virtually disappears. The human body is remarkably adaptive, developing a tolerance to caffeine within a matter of days or weeks. The receptors that initially reacted intensely to the stimulant gradually become less responsive. It's akin to someone trying spicy food for the very first time. It might feel overwhelmingly hot, but after the 10th time, they barely notice the heat. Harvard University, a venerable institution renowned for its medical research, published a detailed analysis on this very subject and arrived at precisely this conclusion: coffee may elevate blood pressure in individuals who are unaccustomed to it, but it does not significantly raise it in those who consume it habitually. Further reinforcing this, a comprehensive European study that meticulously tracked over 100,000 individuals for a decade concluded that habitual coffee consumption did not lead to an increase in long-term arterial blood pressure. Moreover, a robust meta-analysis published as recently as 2023, which meticulously aggregated data from 25 different studies, revealed an even more compelling finding. Higher coffee consumption was associated with a notable 7% reduction in the risk of hypertension, a reduction, not an increase. Now, it is crucial that I mention an important exception, one that bears particular relevance for older individuals diagnosed with severe hypertension, defined as blood pressure consistently exceeding 160 mmHg. A specific study conducted by the American Heart Association indicated that consuming 2 or more cups of coffee daily might potentially increase cardiovascular risk within this very specific patient group. Therefore, if you currently experience very high and uncontrolled blood pressure, it is absolutely essential that you engage in a thorough conversation with your physician about your coffee intake before making any decisions. For the vast majority of older individuals with normal or well-controlled blood pressure, habitual sugar-free coffee is demonstrably not the adversary it was widely portrayed to be for many years. The third effect, and one that profoundly impressed me when I delved deeply into this subject, will offer you a completely fresh perspective on that daily morning coffee ritual. Sugar-free coffee stands as one of the single greatest sources of antioxidants in the human diet. Let me reiterate that: not the avocado, not the orange, not the spinach, but coffee. A single cup can contain anywhere between 50 and 200 milligrams of chlorogenic acid, with the precise amount varying depending on the coffee bean type and the method of preparation. This remarkable compound boasts powerful antioxidant and anti-inflammatory properties and has been consistently linked in numerous scientific reviews to significant protective effects on the heart, the intricate network of blood vessels, glucose metabolism, and even the brain. A comprehensive review published in the European Journal of Nutrition meticulously analyzed 94 studies specifically focusing on chlorogenic acid and concluded that this substance possesses documented antioxidant, anti-inflammatory, anti-diabetic, and cardioprotective qualities. All of that encapsulated within a single cup of coffee. And now we arrive at the point I most want you to understand. for it is precisely here that sugar can tragically undo all the good. When you add sugar to your coffee, the beneficial antioxidants within the coffee do not simply vanish, the chlorogenic acid remains present. However, what unequivocally occurs is that the added sugar itself actively generates inflammation within your body, produces harmful free radicals, and thus works aggressively against everything the coffee's antioxidants are striving to achieve. It is a biochemical paradox, much like taking a potent anti-inflammatory medication while simultaneously consuming a food that is known to provoke inflammation. The two actions effectively cancel each other out, often leaving your body in a worse state. The coffee is diligently attempting to shield the walls of your blood vessels, while the sugar is relentlessly endeavoring to damage them. Ultimately, who triumphs in this internal battle hinges on the quantity of sugar you incorporate and the frequency with which you do so. Consider the cumulative effect. 3 or 4 heaping spoonfuls of sugar stirred into each of the 3 or 4 cups of coffee you consume daily, year after year, over decades. This represents an enormous quantity of refined sugar repeatedly entering your bloodstream multiple times a day, triggering detrimental glucose spikes, actively promoting chronic vascular inflammation, and contributing significantly to insulin resistance. And all of this transpires while the individual genuinely believes they are enjoying a healthy coffee, utterly unaware that it is the sugar, not the coffee, that is silently inflicting the damage. Another patient of mine, Antonio, a 68-year-old retired merchant, arrived at my clinic presenting with elevated inflammatory markers in his blood tests, uncontrolled cholesterol levels, and a pervasive fatigue that he simply could not explain. As I meticulously reviewed his dietary habits, coffee emerged as one of the primary culprits, not the coffee itself, but the sugar he added to it. 4 cups a day, with 2 spoonfuls of sugar in each, amounted to a staggering 8 spoonfuls of pure sugar consumed daily, solely from his coffee. When he eliminated the sugar from his coffee, alongside other targeted dietary adjustments, his inflammatory markers showed remarkable improvement within just 2 months. He shared a poignant realization with me that I will never forget. "Doctor, I thought I was drinking coffee. It turns out I was simply drinking sugar flavored with coffee." Sometimes the most powerful and transformative changes are hidden within the minutiae of habits we have repeated for so long that they become invisible to us. The fourth crucial effect relates to coffee and its impact on the risk of developing diabetes. The connection between diabetes and circulation is strikingly direct and profoundly significant. Elevated blood sugar in the bloodstream acts much like abrasive sandpaper, relentlessly scouring the delicate interior of your blood vessels. This constant friction gradually damages, hardens, and eventually obstructs these vital conduits. It is a leading cause of peripheral arterial disease, a condition characterized by impaired circulation in the legs, as well as neuropathy, which causes nerve damage and microcirculatory damage throughout the body. There are currently over 5 million people diagnosed with type 2 diabetes, and disturbingly, many remain unaware of their condition until their blood vessels have already endured years of silent deterioration. Therefore, any intervention that demonstrably reduces the risk of diabetes directly and profoundly safeguards your circulation. And sugar-free coffee, supported by consistent and robust scientific evidence, significantly reduces the risk of type 2 diabetes. A comprehensive meta-analysis published in the prestigious journal Nutrition Reviews, meticulously conducted by researchers at Sweden's Karolinska Institute, analyzed 30 distinct studies encompassing over 1 million participants. The findings were unequivocally clear. Individuals who consume coffee regularly demonstrate an approximately 29% lower risk of developing type 2 diabetes compared to those who do not, and for every additional cup consumed daily, the risk further decreases by an impressive 6%. And the most salient detail for our current discussion, this profound protective effect was observed with both caffeinated and decaffeinated coffee. This unequivocally indicates that the benefit is not solely attributable to caffeine. Rather, it is the synergistic action of other beneficial compounds in coffee, including the aforementioned chlorogenic acid that produces this protective effect. However, a landmark Harvard study, which meticulously analyzed data from over 3 million individuals, conclusively showed that when sugar was added to coffee, this crucial protective effect diminished significantly. The presence of sugar effectively weakened the otherwise potent protective impact of coffee on glucose metabolism. For individuals over 60 whose pancreas may already be functioning with reduced efficiency and who naturally experience greater insulin resistance, this protective effect of sugar-free coffee on their metabolism holds even greater value. It offers an invaluable additional layer of defense for an organism that inherently has less physiological margin for error. Please share in the comments section where you are watching from, your city. And also tell me if you have been drinking coffee with a sense of guilt, believing it was harmful, or if you always intuitively knew it was good for you. This engaging conversation in the comments is what truly makes all of this worthwhile. The fifth effect, and perhaps the one that most captivated my attention as I delved into the scientific data, is directly intertwined with the paramount health of the heart in older individuals. Moderate consumption of sugar-free coffee is consistently associated with a lower risk of heart failure. Heart failure is a serious condition where the heart gradually loses its strength and efficiency in pumping blood adequately to the rest of the body. You can imagine it as a pump that progressively diminishes in power over the years. In older persons, heart failure represents one of the most frequent causes of hospital admissions and a significant factor in the erosion of overall quality of life. A comprehensive study that meticulously analyzed data from 3 major, long-duration American research investigations uncovered a clear inverse relationship between coffee consumption and the risk of heart failure. Simply put, those who consume coffee regularly are notably less likely to develop this debilitating condition. And when we specifically examine the Framingham Heart Study, an unparalleled investigation, one of the most important and longest-running studies in the annals of medical history, entirely focused on cardiovascular health and tracking families across generations, the data unequivocally demonstrates that coffee consumption in the older population was associated with a remarkable 43% reduction in deaths attributable to coronary heart disease. Think about that, a staggering 43%, nearly half. Furthermore, a vast meta-analysis published in 2019, which synthesized findings from 40 studies encompassing almost 4 million participants, conclusively found that coffee consumption was inversely associated with all-cause mortality. The identified sweet spot for optimal cardiovascular protection was approximately 3.5 cups per day. Let me share another real case from my practice. Paco, a 74-year-old retiree, came to my consultation after a frightening experience. He had felt severe shortness of breath while climbing the stairs of his apartment building, and his previous doctor had indicated that his heart was showing signs of fatigue, with initial evidence of heart failure. One of the first questions I posed to him was about his daily habits. He revealed that he had ceased drinking coffee 2 years prior because someone had erroneously told him it was detrimental to his heart. I explained to him that, according to current scientific consensus, moderate consumption of sugar-free coffee can, in fact, be a beneficial component of a heart-healthy lifestyle. He looked at me, utterly surprised. "But doctor," he questioned, "everyone told me to stop." I replied, "Paco, scientific understanding has advanced immensely in recent years. What we know today is dramatically different from what was understood 2 decades ago. You can certainly go back to enjoying your little cup of coffee without sugar." He left my consultation visibly more relieved than when he entered. And I will tell you something. Sometimes the most profoundly reassuring news a doctor can impart to a patient is that something they genuinely enjoy is not, after all, their enemy. Now, let's turn to the most critical aspect. What practical steps can you take? First and foremost, if you currently drink coffee with sugar, initiate a gradual reduction. There is no need for an abrupt, cold turkey cessation. Your palate will not readily accept such a sudden change, and you are more likely to abandon the effort before truly beginning. Instead, commit to reducing your sugar intake by just half a teaspoon each week. Within a month, you will find yourself drinking black coffee, and you will be astonished by the transformation. The authentic, rich, and complex flavor of coffee, unmasked by the sweetness of sugar, is far more exquisite than you can possibly imagine. Many of my patients happily report that after successfully eliminating sugar, sweetened coffee now tastes overwhelmingly cloying and artificial to them. They simply cannot revert to their old habits. Second, for your daily brew, prioritize filtered coffee or coffee prepared in a traditional cafetiere. Research indicates that filtered coffee contains significantly lower concentrations of diterpenes, certain substances that, when consumed in excess, have the potential to elevate cholesterol levels. Your classic, everyday filtered coffee is an excellent and safe choice. Capsule coffee and espresso are also perfectly good alternatives. Conversely, coffee that is boiled directly in a pot and consumed unfiltered typically contains the highest concentrations of these diterpenes. Third, practice moderation. The majority of scientific studies suggest that a range of 3 to 5 cups per day is most favorable for cardiovascular protection. Exceeding this amount can potentially lead to undesirable side effects such as insomnia, heightened anxiety, or heart palpitations, particularly in individuals who are more sensitive to caffeine. For older individuals who often experience lighter or more fragmented sleep patterns, paying special attention to coffee intake after 3 o'clock in the afternoon is crucial. Caffeine boasts a half-life of approximately 5 to 6 hours. This means that a cup of coffee enjoyed at 4 p.m. will still have a significant amount of active caffeine circulating in your system as late as 10 p.m., potentially disrupting your ability to achieve restful sleep. Fourth, if you have a known cardiac arrhythmia, suffer from severe anxiety, have very high and uncontrolled blood pressure, or exhibit an extreme sensitivity to caffeine, it is absolutely imperative that you engage in a detailed and personalized discussion with your doctor about your coffee consumption before making any decisions. Every individual case is unique. While the evidence I am presenting here applies to the majority of people, your health circumstances are singular, and your care must unequivocally respect that individuality. Fifth, ensure that your coffee consumption is integrated within a broader framework of other healthy habits. Sugar-free coffee is not a miraculous panacea that works in isolation. Its benefits are maximized when it functions as a complementary component of a comprehensive healthy lifestyle that consistently includes a balanced and nutritious diet, regular physical activity, adequate restorative sleep, and ongoing medical monitoring. It is an important piece of the puzzle, certainly, but not the only one. I wish to conclude this discussion with a point that I find genuinely profound and deeply meaningful. In Spain and throughout Latin America, we share a uniquely special relationship with coffee. It transcends being merely a beverage. It is the catalyst for connection, the shared moment when you sit down with your neighbor, fostering community. It is the cherished mid-morning coffee at your customary local bar, a ritualized pause in the day. It underpins countless family breakfasts, serving as a comforting constant. It embodies the brief yet essential break that replenishes both body and spirit. According to data from the International Coffee Organization, Spain consistently ranks among the European countries with the highest per capita coffee consumption. Coffee is intricately woven into the very fabric of our culture. It orchestrates our daily rhythms, and it enriches our conversations. And it brings me immense joy to be able to tell you, based on robust scientific evidence rather than mere assumptions, that this deeply ingrained tradition, when practiced correctly, without added sugar and in moderation, can indeed be a genuine and powerful ally for the cardiovascular health of older individuals. The next time you prepare your coffee, you can do so with profound tranquility, entirely free from guilt, and liberated from any lingering fear that you might be inadvertently harming your heart, You can savor it with the clear consciousness that you are consuming something that science has definitively shown to be beneficial, provided, of course, there is one crucial condition: no sugar. That, my friends, is the word that changes everything: no sugar. Before I draw this to a close, I have one final request for you. Do you know someone who, perhaps years ago, stopped drinking coffee because they were told it was harmful, and who now deeply misses that cherished moment, that familiar taste, that comforting custom that had always been an integral part of their life? Or perhaps you know someone who consumes coffee with an abundance of sugar every single day, utterly unaware of the insidious damage that sugar is inflicting upon their circulation. Please take a moment right now and share this video with that person. Information like this has the power to restore something that was unnecessarily taken from them, returning a source of simple joy without the burden of guilt. Or it could provide the gentle yet urgent nudge they need to make a simple change that will protect their vital blood vessels for years to come. Sometimes, a gesture as small and straightforward as sharing a video can make a truly life-altering difference in the health and well-being of someone we deeply care about. And if you haven't yet subscribed to this channel, now is the perfect moment to do so. Give this video a like if it has provided you with valuable insights. Write in the comments section where you are watching from and what your thoughts are. And please share it with anyone who needs to hear this message. Here, we are building a community where information is honest, practical, and always specifically tailored for those over 60. In our next video, we will delve into the crucial topic of bone health, exploring what is silently destroying our bones after the age of 60 and why osteoporosis is rightly called a silent disease, for a far more serious reason than most people imagine. And there is a specific food found on almost every table that is unknowingly robbing our bones of calcium. In the next video, I will reveal what that food is. I am Dr. Movimiento. Enjoy your sugar-free coffee calmly and with pleasure. Take care of your circulation, take care of your heart, and take care of those you love, wishing you abundant health and an excellent quality of life.